Well, it's a beautiful afternoon. Welcome to the Porch, where I've got good 49ers news for you. The NFL has finalized its 2026 salary cap amount. It is tied to league revenues, and it is $301.2 million. Now, it's at the lower end of the range that had been projected a couple weeks ago, which was $301 million to $305 million, but the good news essentially already rolled in a couple weeks ago. With that salary cap range, the 49ers would be in good shape to continue executing their salary cap strategy. The cap has grown from $279.2 million in 2025 to $301.2 million this season, which is a 7.8% increase. So what we're seeing is league revenues are increasing, and the 49ers strategy is dependent on league revenues increasing because they like to push salary cap hits into the future. They are banking on salary cap inflation, and that level of salary cap inflation that the 49ers have been counting on has officially again happened here in 2026. It's going to allow the 49ers to continue along with their same financial strategy. They're not going to have to recalculate things. The only time that they've been caught red-handed here, that they've had to scramble and change their plans around, was back in 2020, 2021, when the shutdown of the economy caused the salary cap to shrink because NFL revenues also shrunk, and the 49ers had to scramble a bit to keep their team together. But all teams had to scramble a bit to keep their teams together. The 49ers weathered that storm. The cap has since recovered, and now for the first time in NFL history, it is above $300 million. Now, a lot of people always ask me, well, isn't this a benefit for everyone? Theoretically, it should be, but the 49ers and the Eagles especially, these two teams have done a better job than any other team in the NFL at surfing the salary cap wave and pushing money into the future without really being penalized for it. A lot of people say, well, the credit card bill is going to come due at some point. Well, if you actually understand finance and you actually look to see how this is working, the salary cap limit increases every single year. And if you're allowed to push money into the future because signing bonuses prorate over up to 5 years, you're actually taking out a zero interest loan and just paying it back whenever you want to in the future, as long as the salary cap keeps on rising, right? So say that you've got a $20 million cap hit for Brock Purdy through a signing bonus. Say that you want to give it out as a proration over the course of 5 seasons. So that's $4 million per season, right? 4 times 5 equals 20. So you'd only have to pay $5 million or $4 million this season, and then you'd pay the remaining $16 million over the next 4 seasons. If the salary cap is consistently 8 to 12% higher in each of those subsequent 4 seasons, then the $5 million hit per season, or the $4 million hit per season for Brock Purdy, is a smaller percentage of the salary cap each year that you go forward. So it makes all the sense of the world to push the money into the future, as long as you don't ever cross the actual hard limit in any single season. And I think that you can assume that you'll be able to monkey with the money and be able to rearrange it if you need to in the future. That's what the 49ers always do with some of these restructures. So if you're in position to surf this wave correctly, which teams like the 49ers have been in position to do, teams like the Eagles have been in position to do, then you have an advantage over the rest of the NFL, point blank. And I think that San Francisco's actually been on the forefront of this, and that's why today's news is good for the 49ers. They can continue forward with their planned financial path, a $301.2 million salary cap. Everybody welcome in. I said welcome from the porch. This is my view from the porch right now here in Franklin, Tennessee. So we are just outside of Nashville, and we can take a look over at the barn out in the distance. I decided I wanted to sit down for today's show, but the zoom on this camera is nice. It's a little bit shaky. The horses are out at the barn. We'll do a show. We've done shows with the horses before. For now, though, we're just going to sit down here on the porch. Look, there's the laptop. Here are the porch chairs use this thing as like a little tripod stand. And I could sit down. You guys like the new white shoes? Not bad, right? You could sit here. We could sit here with a view. I could even walk out there and maybe talk from the grass for a little bit. But for now, I'll flip the camera back around and we'll talk right here so I could see some of your questions. So right now we're sitting here. It's what, 70 degrees on February 27th. Glorious. We like that. We had a good lunch, and we can look at the league calendar for what happens next. What do the 49ers do with their money? What does this mean exactly for their salary cap space? I have all the stuff right here up on my salary cap sheet that I could share with you at a later point. I know that we're not in the studio right now, so I'm not going to put it up on the screen right away. But, you know, my calculations right now, with the new league year approaching, March 9th is going to be the first day of the legal tampering window for the NFL this year. My calculations are that the 49ers have about $55 million based on this $301.2 million cap to operate with in this season. Now, there are a couple things that you have to remember. It's not just $55 million to spend on one player or $55 million to spend on all players. You have to remember that unused salary cap room carries over from season to season. And you have to realize that the 49ers have mechanisms at their disposal to create more space this year, but that they also have to leave this season with quite a bit of space to carry over into 2027. Why? Well, I could give you the Brock Purdy contract, for example. Brock Purdy in this 2026 season is going to count against the salary cap for the 49ers at a much smaller percentage than he's going to count in 2027 and beyond. His cap hit this year is $24.4 million. Next season, Brock Purdy's cap hit is going to be $30.8 million, so it's higher. And then in 2028, it's going to be $57.6 million. Now, obviously, there's going to be renegotiations that can happen, and the 49ers can continue to convert base salary into signing bonus and move that money into the future, assuming they still want to keep Brock Purdy on the team, which they will. But my main point is that more money is parked into the future than is parked into the now for San Francisco. So to make that sustainable, you have to operate at a salary cap profit every year. You have to leave some of the $55 million that I calculate they have right now open to carry over into 2027. And so you ask, how much of the $55 million can they use? Well, first off, I've got 40 players projected to make the 53-man roster right now. That's a rough estimate that are in the building for the 49ers. So you've got to fill out the rest of the 53. And the rest of the 53 is going to cost as much as you pay your free agents and as much as the draft class costs. And you're probably going to bite into the $55 million, probably by at least $20 million. Probably going to be down at $35 million by the time that the spending of the next couple months is done. You also have to take care of Trent Williams. Now, you might be able to lower Trent's salary cap hit, which currently stands at $38.8 million. It's very big. I think the 49ers want a smaller number there. And if you extend Trent Williams, restructure him, extend and restructure, I think those things go hand in hand. Maybe you could bring that hit down to $25 million. Open up another 13. Maybe you go crazy. Maybe you sign Tyler Linderbaum. Maybe you trade for Max Crosby if you're the 49ers. There's all kinds of possibilities, right? As long, I think, as you end up with at least $25 to $30 million to carry over into 2027, the way that I calculated, and I have this whole sheet right here that I could show you. It's on a laptop right here, but it's going to be really hard to see if we just try to show you in the sun right now. So I could send you guys the sheet later. Many of you probably already have the link. As long as you end up with $25 to $30 million in the tank at the end of all of this 2026 business, I think that you're good as far as keeping this sustainable until next year when I sit here on the porch on February 27th and I tell you what the 49ers salary cap situation is. So the NFL is going to decide this on every single year based on league revenue. The league is banking on, and teams around the league like the 49ers are banking on continuous increases. The league is now trying to take over international markets at a more aggressive clip than ever before. I think there are 9 international games this season. The 49ers have to play in 2 of them. They're playing in Melbourne and they're playing in Mexico City. I think that the league's ultimate goal, and I don't have this from anybody in the league, but I'm just looking at business and I'm looking at how the writing on the wall, I think the league's ultimate goal is to have a division in Europe. Once the league has a division in Europe, then they're going to be able to own the 10 a.m. Eastern Time TV window, because Europe is about 5 to 6 hours ahead of Eastern Time. Right now, if you wake up on the East Coast, so where the NFL Combine is in Indianapolis, if you wake up, in the Eastern Time zone, New York, Boston, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, wherever on the East Coast, there's no football unless there's an international game until 1 p.m. That entire morning window, as soon as there's teams playing in Europe on a very consistent basis, and there are, 4 European games this year, once there's a division there, if the NFL has its way, then you're going to have 10 a.m. games in Europe every single Sunday, like 10 a.m. Eastern Time games played evening or afternoon in Europe. And that's going to open up billions of more dollars of revenue for the National Football League in advertising. That's going to raise the salary cap even more. The sport is growing internationally. But the point is that the teams that have decided to park salary cap money into the future, since it is tied to league revenue, are going to be the teams that can win in terms of the monetary game over the long haul. And that's where the 49ers currently are. They've decided to park money into the future. They have good mechanisms to stretch money into the future with signing bonuses and option bonuses. The Trent Williams situation is the same deal here. They're going to find a way to extend his contract and park more money into the future and just continue kicking the can down the road, but in a way that's not going to hurt the 49ers because they understand basic economics. So today's salary cap news was expected for the 49ers, but it still is good news. And if they can continue repeating this every single season, if the NFL keeps on seeing an 8 to 12% rise in the salary cap, then the 49ers are going to be A-OK. That's how their finances have been structured over the course of the past several years, actually. I think that we saw these meteoric increases before the 2020, 2021 dip, and then we saw a truly meteoric recovery in terms of the salary cap in that 2022, 2023 cycle that the 49ers are truly benefiting from. The offseason business this year is obviously for Trent Williams to lower his cap hit and to extend his contract, take that down from $39 million, create a little bit more room. Nick Bosa has a $41 million salary cap number. A more standard restructure will probably work there if the 49ers want to create some more space this season to have a little bit more buffer room moving forward. And then, you talk about trades, and I know that the Max Crosby trade is something that is hotly rumored right now, and something could happen within the next 10 days. Say that you do trade for Max Crosby if you are the 49ers. His salary cap hit would be absorbed by, obviously, the acquiring team. It would be $30.78 million, assuming that he played in every single game of the 2026 season. So that's a big chunk of change that the 49ers would have to absorb. Now they could restructure Max Crosby's contract. They could change base salary into signing bonus. They could run the same kind of game that they do with these other players. But at the time of trade, you would have to have enough room to fit his contract. That's just how the rules work. And the fact that the 49ers are walking around with $55 million in room right now gives them the ability to do that. The draft is going to be cost controlled for the 49ers. It's not going to cost all that much because that's set by the rookie wage scale. But free agency, you're going to want some change to work with if you're San Francisco. And then you're going to want to fit every single piece of contractual business into how you operate. Now, one area where the 49ers stand to gain quite a bit of workable salary cap space in the short term and in the long term is when they release Brandon Aiyuk. Right now, Aiyuk is counting $14.6 million against the 2026 cap. They probably will run a post-June 1st release once the new league year starts here in a couple weeks. They will save about $6.3 million on the 2026 salary cap. So the 49ers will go up to something over $60 million at that point, if that's what they decide to do with Brandon Aiyuk. But more than anything, the fact that they were able to avoid $27 million of guaranteed money for Brandon Aiyuk this season means that the 49ers saved $27 million total that they thought they initially were going to have to pay Brandon Aiyuk. And since unused salary cap space carries over from season to season, that's like a gold mine that the 49ers have run into, and it allows them, it gives them the flexibility and the financial spending power, the salary cap spending power to start making up for the loss of Brandon Aiyuk, to start being able to do courses of business that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to do had you owed him the money this year. So that is a big deal. This, again, is a team that has given out more A-list contracts than any other team in the entire NFL ever since John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have come aboard. So every single dollar matters for the 49ers. And you know what? I want to take a little bit of a walk right now. And I know you guys can still hear me because I've got the mic. I'll come back over here in a second, but you guys will see me on camera as we talk about the 49ers and giving out all these big A-list contracts. I just thought I'd have some fun with this. I'm glad I'm not in Indianapolis anymore in the convention center. I'm glad that we're here in nice weather outside. You guys can see me, right? It's good. Yeah, the tripod works out well. That's like a saw, which is a really cool little greeting sculpture as you walk in. But we can talk about salary cap space. We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I want to go swimming, though, here in a little bit, especially since we have zero clouds in the sky. I mean, think about all the big contracts the 49ers have handed out on a year-in, year-out basis. You start in 2018, Jimmy Garoppolo. That set the market at the time for the quarterback position. 2019, they traded for Dee Ford, and they paid him. 2020, they paid George Kittle, record contract to tight end. 2021, they paid Fred Warner, record contract. I think I'm back. Yes, I am. So the phone overheated. I know that a lot of you are no longer here, but I had to go inside because the phone overheated. We're going to sign off. I think we went for a good 15 to 17 minutes. So the phone overheated on February 27th. Hell, I'm going to keep it on for a bit here. Let's put this tripod in. Better. Let's put the mic back in too. We'll see if the crowd can return here for a few minutes. 1 second. Look at this. We get it up. That's a first, right? We can have Mike chop out that part of the show where the phone literally overheated. I don't know what part of it, And I know I walked out. And I was away from the phone, and I came back, and the screen was just black. And it's like, oh God, how long has it been off? And it said, your phone is overheating. Is this an emergency? And I said, no, not really. I'm just on a live. But on February 27th, the phone overheats on the porch, sitting in the sun, so we have to go inside. I'm back on, Mike. Mike is texting me. I am back on. I think I asked Mike, can you end the live while my phone is overheated? And he's like, I can't find a spot to end the live, but now my phone is back on, so I think we're going to have Mike rejoining us. I think that we've got the crowd coming back in. I mean, we were up over 500, weren't we? I think we're at like 259 now. I don't blame you guys for leaving while the phone overheated. All right, guys, any questions, go ahead and ask them, and then I think it's going to be time for me to hit the road. We were talking 49ers salary cap. I'm just happy that the phone could overheat on February 27th. I'm happy I got some color in my face. You guys know I was pretty sick for a couple weeks. Got just healthy enough in time for the combine, but now feel a whole heck of a lot better. And it's like the winter is finally behind us. Even in the Bay Area this year, it was cold for a stretch there. I understand it's probably nice in San Francisco now after a couple weeks of rain. Out of town at the moment, obviously, but was in Indianapolis. Wasn't all too bad there either. So we're happy now and we're ready for free agency. Is it still too cold for phones to overheat in New York? Somebody asked if Trent is going to adjust his contract. I think both the 49ers and Trent would love to adjust his contract. Both sides want an adjustment because his cap hit is $39 million. Trent wants more guaranteed money because he doesn't have any more. He would love guarantees that bleed over into 2027. The 49ers probably want a lower amount than what is currently scheduled to come Trent Williams' way this year. Trent probably wants as high of an amount as possible, and so they've got to thread a needle. They've got to figure out a way to make both sides happy. They did it in 2024. I fully believe that the 49ers can do it again with Trent Williams here in 2026. Thank you. I know that we have some congratulations for 100,000 subscribers coming through, 100,000 real subscribers. I appreciate you guys. It's 70s and no wind at the Dolphin Club. I love that. Too bad I'm not swimming in the bay today. I miss it. I think I'm going to go swimming out here, though. We'll be in a lap pool today out here in Franklin. I am in Tennessee right now. Yes, I'm in Franklin, Tennessee. I was outside on the porch, but the phone overheated here on February 27th. There, the weather today, let's look. It says 62. It's a lot warmer than 62. And tomorrow it's supposed to be 71, so it's going to, that first day that's really, really warm, and there was I guess an ice storm out here. I saw it on the weather in the news. I was back in San Francisco a couple weeks ago, so it's like a good 60 degrees colder than it was back then. The first couple days that it's really warm, it feels a lot hotter than it actually is. Yeah, it would have been a great day to swim in the bay. Anyway, top of the show, we discussed the 49ers and the salary cap space. It's going to be $301.2 million. That is now official. The 49ers have about $55 million to work with. If you guys want to get a nice firm look at how everything is working, I'm going to put the laptop over here. We can zoom in on the screen. Look at that. I've got my 49ers salary cap worksheet, $55.7 million. That's their adjusted cap size, $332.2 million, and then $55.5 million for the 49ers to build a roster here in this 2026 season. So that's the update. I appreciate everybody for joining. I'm sorry that the phone overheated, but we did our best. We'll talk to you very soon.